Keep telling you there's no lyrics to the song.
Yeah, but there are lyrics. I wrote them. I want some of that sweet royalty money.
Your 2 cents.
Hey everybody, happy. Yeah, you officially owe me 3 cents. Hey everybody, it's Midnight After Dark. Hope everybody survived the weekend. We're no worse for wear.
Well, it doesn't look like Charlie's Angels survived the weekend, speaking of.
No, they certainly didn't. Run right over by Ford versus Ferrari at the box office.
Wah, wah.
Marvel announces Marvel announces 5 more movie dates. We'll talk about what those might be. Something else.
A bunch of Disney and Fox dates, actually.
And do some Disney movies on Plus have an expiration date? It's talking about that. And a whole lot more. Joining me as always from Shabby Island, Rob Robot Shlomo, coming from Shabby Road Studios. Joining me, Mr. Tom Connors.
Did you just say it was on Shabby Island? You have your own island?
Yes, it's a Shabby Island. It's that one that the French used to nuke in the Pacific. Oh. Shabby Island. Yeah, I deal with 8-legged frogs and.
So you're where Lizzie from Godzilla came from, huh? Gotcha.
Yeah. Yes. Damn. I have a third arm.
Rob.
I'm not talking about your penis.
No.
I bet you that makes things a whole lot easier when you're introducing Mecca.
Well, no, Tom, you got to say. Well, we got to get to our guest.
You want to do the guest first? That's right. Okay.
Joining us, as always, is Mr. Tom Connors, and we are joined by the man who is quite literally writing the book on the Fandom Menace, author Stephen Walton.
Hail the Fandom Menace. Thank you for having me on, guys. Last time I was on this show, I was doing it from a hotel room on my phone, and now I'm finally back in my computer, my old station. So it's good to be here and comfortable at the same time.
Welcome back again.
Yes. And joining us, as always, is your favorite YouTube harpy. She's an Emmy, an ESPY, a Tony, an Oscar, a Bammy, a BAFTA, a Pulitzer, a Nobel Peace Prize.
And Ghost Hunter. We're soon to be.
She's an MA, a BA, a DDS, an MD, a PhD.
Would that make you a Ghostbuster?
She's an Earl, an OB, and an OBE, which makes her an earlobe.
Wait, did you just call her a gynecologist?
Yes.
Or wait, is that or did you say OBN?
Well, I said she's an Earl and an OBE, which makes her an earlobe.
It's the gynecologist part that attaches to the B.
Yeah.
I'm going to hide now.
$5 super chat from Captain Hare.
Hello.
Another pointless Sony reboot done on the cheap, starring Mikey, Spock, Spirit, and Animal, and 2. Who are the other 2? Regardless, classic Rothman. Very Archer. That is just classic him.
My God. Reboot after reboot after reboot.
Steven, you a fan of Archer?
Yes, I am a fan of Archer.
Okay, good. Okay, just it's nice. It's nice to know I have another like-minded individual here. So I
probably enjoy it. I just don't have time for shit.
Yeah, that's true.
It's hard when you have to keep up with all of the missteps going on in entertainment today, like Charlie's Angels. What happened? I mean, I think all those evil misogynists didn't show up, and the movie tanked. Unlike the last reboot, where everybody showed up and it made money.
Well, it still sucked, but anyway, yeah. I didn't care for the first 2 either, but
I liked it. I'm a fan of TNA.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is she blamed the audience for this right off the bat. The movie didn't even get a chance to get into theaters. The corpse wasn't even cold yet. And she's like, fuck you fuckers. We've had 37 fucking Spider-Man movies and I was in half of them. But fuck you. You didn't go to see my movie.
Now, does that mean that she knew it was going to fail before it began?
I have a theory. I have a theory that they did know it was going to fail. That's why they went the woke marketing point, because that's the only way you get press anymore with these movies.
Yeah.
Like if you have like an Oscar bait movie, you cannot get an article read unless you go the woke SJW crap route. It doesn't help that the movie is just woke bait anyway, and it's just the problem with Charlie's Angels is this should have been done in the 90s and it shouldn't have been done then, because who the fuck cares?
Well, the 2000 movies were, I guess, if you want to, I mean, they did well enough. They captured the spirit of the time. I think there was a lot of girl fun and girl power in them.
Yeah, that's all this one was too.
And girls acting sexy and fun and all. Here's the thing about the original Charlie's Angels, okay? It came out. What was that, Rob?
Guys watched it.
Well, not just, well, that was good. I was getting to it. It came out in the time right in the middle of, the women's rights movement and women out there burning their bras. So you had a bunch of girls acting like James Bond out there flashing and flaunting what they had while kicking ass, and they weren't bimbos necessarily. Mm-hmm. So you had powerful, strong female characters on top of sexy on top of that, So you had both audiences there, and it was a hit.
I mean, you kind of
what were they doing? What were they doing?
I don't know, Rob.
What were they doing?
I don't even remember which part I'm talking about now, because you wanted to play something.
The first reboot.
They were burning something.
Go ahead.
They were what, Rob?
God damn it.
Burning bras, right? Is that what you want?
Yeah, okay, never mind. The sound didn't work. Fuck.
Bras are expensive.
This is our first day live, by the way.
It's Rob's first day live.
I said there.
Okay, but
And the first reboot that they did, I mean, they were kind of marketing toward maybe the kids who watched the reruns and the actresses who that generation liked. So you had kind of a built-in audience, and they were advertising the sex appeal, which is what the original series did. And they weren't dumb. I like those movies actually. This one, I don't know who are they appealing to. If it was going to be SJW and
nobody.
I don't. Well, I mean, so if they knew it was going to fail, then why would they go hardcore SJW route? Like, why wouldn't they have just amped up the sex appeal and been marketed it more toward men?
Because they're stupid.
It kind of feels like they did. It kind of feels like they did because there's really good moments in the movie, but most of the time it's just it's so disjointed. It doesn't know which way it wants to go.
Well, Elizabeth Banks even said it was interwoven with hidden feminism messages.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a lot of that crap. Oh yeah, there's a lot of girl power. It's so dated girl power. It's Spice Girls girl power 90s crap.
Mm.
Yeah, but the girl power then was sexy. It wasn't trying to tear you down. It was just being empowered.
Yeah, it was sexy. Okay. It was girls shaking their boobs because they're like, "Hey, look at what we have."
Is there a lot of dumb men though? Is there a lot of dumb men though? Does it have like a lot of Ghostbusters?
All over the place. Well, it's okay. It's better than Ghostbusters because it's funny and the characters are well written and interesting. But yes, every time it gets a chance to kind of take a shot at a do you guys want the spoiler?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay, well,
I'm never gonna watch this fucking movie.
Patrick Stewart is old white man bad.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so cringe. It's so cringe.
I didn't know the twist. I just got real pissy one day on the set and said,
"That's
fuck
because
it."
It's like they shoehorned in at the last minute because it would have made more sense had Elizabeth Banks been the bad guy because they try the double switcheroo and they try and make it more clever than it is when it's a cringe corn. It should have been a fucking comedy. It has good.
It technically
comedy.
is. They even went balls out comedy with the remakes in the early 2000s or whatever.
Yeah.
No, this one should have been a flat-out comedy, but no, it takes itself way too seriously. And it's way too much about building up a sisterhood and empowerment, and that's where it really, really falls flat.
So they're doing it to their own shit now.
Yeah.
Not to single out Mecca here, because you are a woman. But it's okay. First of all, it's bad enough that you got to do it to shit that you shouldn't have any reason or rhyme to do it to in the first place. Now you're turning around and doing it to shit that was meant for you to come in and do your thing, and you just double it, like double the dumb. I don't know how else to put it. It's so stupid.
double the dumb.
Double dumbass on them is that's how we put it.
Well put.
And I'm sorry, she's over here griping about Spider-Man movies. She forgets she was in 3 of them, I guess, and she's been in how many other big movies like this?
She's in all the Hunger Games movies.
Yeah, and the Hunger Games movies. I think she was a producer on those too.
Yeah, like I enjoy Elizabeth Banks, so this is actually jarring for me.
Yeah, I was a bit pissy because normally
you can do a reboot again. Just make it a good reboot.
Wasn't she the one that also made that movie 34 or whatever the fuck that goddamn thing was called? That people got tricked into doing. I can't remember the name of it. It was horrible.
Oh, the Richard Linklater kid or something.
I can't remember what it was called.
Look, I remember Elizabeth Banks playing the dumb slut in The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and I was like, okay, I like this person because she pulled it off really well. And then I've seen her in other roles, like in Spider-Man and in Hunger Games and so forth, and I've liked her acting. So it's like I said, it's jarring when you have these actors that you enjoy come out and start spewing this rhetoric, because like now I don't like you as much because you're a moron and you've just rebooted a franchise just to virtue signal, and now that's ruined too. Thank you.
No, they don't know what the crap they're doing. They don't know who these movies are for. It's like she just wanted to make a movie to go to Europe. That's all it was. She wanted to make a movie to go to Istanbul.
Shot in Istanbul.
Well, some of it, and some of it was in Germany.
Well, I don't understand where she's like, oh, I've made these Pitch Perfect movies. Now I should make Charlie's Angels.
I want to see her Pitch Perfect movies. They from the stuff that seems very Pitch Perfect like that I would probably enjoy of this, of this Charlie's Angels movie. I think it would be really good.
Well, we got home before we got 2 super chats from Rosetta Allen. So one, we actually scroll back a bit. One more to combat the anti-beauty SJW. Hugs, guys. And just dropping some love on my busy day. Thank you very much, Rosetta.
Hail, Rosetta.
As long as it's love and not anything else.
My infinite love to you.
I'm sick of cleaning up poo. Every time somebody's like, I got a surprise for you, they just throw poop at me.
That's what your dog does.
That's what happens when I'm spending most of my time with my dog.
Yeah.
No, actually, she's pretty good about not doing it in the house anymore.
Okay,
she's a big girl now, Rob.
Who's a big dog? Who's a good doggy? Yes, you are. Well, anyway.
How much did Charlie's Angel reboot make? Does anybody have the number?
Not a goddamn
dime.
$8 million. No, it did $8 million. So that's flop territory like 20 years ago.
What was the budget on this thing?
I think as much as Joker.
Probably 80 million, I bet. Just rough guessing it.
Oh, there's a lot of car chases and shit, yeah.
Somebody wants to look it up real quick.
75 million.
I was close. And then you add in all the advertising. Oh, yeah. Here's the thing. I think this is way too soon.
Wait a minute. Hold on. That was for the 2003 movie. 40. Thanks a lot, Google, for giving me the old data.
Well, that's because that's the one that anybody gives a shit about.
Right.
Yeah. 48 to 55 million.
Okay, so they did okay on that, but it's still not going to make its money back, guaranteed. Oh. And that's what I was going to say. This is too soon after the other reboots. I mean, Charlie's Angels back in the early 2000s, I didn't care for it, but it worked. It brought in an audience. The first one was a huge hit. I don't know if the second one did as well. I didn't pay much attention to it, but I remember there was a bunch of shit surrounding the second movie, everything from video games to, wasn't that the one that had the Destiny's Child on the soundtrack and all that shit?
I was about to say, I think they're barking up the wrong tree. I think this would be better. I think Charlie's Angels is still better suited to television.
Perhaps. And I think, I don't know, I guess Mecca saw it. Did they attach this to the other reboots at all? Was this a continuation?
Oh, yeah, it's a continuation of all of it.
Well, yeah, didn't somebody say...
Everybody's Bosley. There's Charlie's and Angels all over the world, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, for fuck's sake. So it even connects to like the original show and the Cameron Diaz one and all that shit too?
Yep.
Dang.
Everybody's Charlie. Or everybody's Bosley, rather.
Well, yeah, because I seen in the chat they said that Patrick Stewart's playing the original Bosley or something like that.
Good.
No,
He's
it's
playing
not.
A Bosley. He's playing like,
A Bosley.
Bosley's
Okay.
a rank. It's lame. It's lame. But then again, I didn't care about the 2000s movies, the 90s, 2000s.
Well, no, but at least those had an audience. I can't argue that much.
Yeah.
They served their purpose. They sold that second movie like a Bad Boys movie with girls.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
that's what this should have been.
It probably could have been, and it's with Elizabeth Banks behind it. She should have been, and I'm just like Steven said, I'm so disappointed
because she's funny.
She's the fact that she had to go to this extent.
Yeah, this could have been really, really good if it wasn't so up its own ass. I mean, this isn't Ghostbusters where it's just bad straight through and through. No, this has its moments. It has some of the dumb humor, the chick flick humor, the stuff that like, oh, girls are gonna like this because the closet and the clothes and all they're gonna like the funness of some of these characters. The character interaction is the best part of the movie. It's just the crappy action and stuff that like doesn't really feel like it belongs there because you got all the 80-pound Kristen Stewart doesn't really feel like she's going to beat up anybody. That's the biggest problem with a lot of these things where they put like chicks in guy movies, basically.
Oh, don't get me started on her because she comes out and says, "I'm a badass because I'm allowed," which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. She obviously has never understood what a badass actually means, or you wouldn't say that because that's the last thing. Somebody's badass because they're allowed. No, that's just called entitled.
Mm-hmm. And that begs the question now with this failing and then Terminator Dark Fate failing, are the general audiences finally catching on and getting tired of all this woke content?
I think so.
I hope so.
With this one, they didn't market it, though. I've seen more about the soundtrack than the movie.
Because they knew it was going to bomb ahead of time. I think you're right, Mecca. I think that's why she went on the defensive right off the bat. It wasn't tracking well. They were idiots and put it up against a bunch of other movies that obviously guys were going to go see and their women were going to go see with them. Because I said it to a few people when I saw it this weekend. I went and saw Dr. Sleep, but it was fucking packed and Ford versus Ferrari. And everybody was going all different ages. And that's what I said. And I knew it as soon as my dad said something like, that's the movie that women are going to be able to drag their husband out of the house to go see that they don't normally get to go see a movie with.
Which one? Dr. Sleep?
No, Ford versus Ferrari. And then the women get happy because they get to go look at Matt Damon. And
that's what I said about Ford versus Ferrari. It's like you have stuff for you. Rob and I did a video about Ford versus Ferrari. You have guys, you have eye candy for you in this. And the biggest complaint that people have with it is it's problematic of its time. It's problematic. Well, that's because it's the 1960s, the product of its time.
It's because they don't understand a little thing called context.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the world was different in 1966.
Oh, I'm sick of the revisionist history that this new generation is trying to push on everybody. It's bullshit. It's like, no, motherfucker, I was there.
Oh my God, you mean to tell me that women were expected to take care of a family? Oh,
Well, up and through the 80s, that was pretty much the way things were. Yeah.
You want to know what's funny? Gary from Nerdrotic went to go see it, and he was making a car video driving on the way back, and he saw it with Mrs. Nerdrotic.
Mm-hmm.
John Bernthal from Punisher, he plays Lee Iacocca. Gary says Mrs. Nerdrotic turns to him when she sees John Bernthal on screen, and she says, "I never knew Lee Iacocca was really hot." And I'm like, no, he wasn't, but you keep thinking that.
Oh, we got another super chat, Rob.
Yeah, Matt G, $2 super chat. Cha-ching. He's playing Bosley, LOL, like he's playing a Picard. And Larry Bernard.
Well, that was Matt G, yeah. Oh, sorry. That was
Larry Bernard, $2 super chat. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was an angel.
Is he serious?
Oh, I don't know.
Who knows?
I didn't know.
Gary. All right. Yeah, I mean, what were they thinking was going to happen with this? I mean,
they thought they could use. See, it's.
Didn't they do a TV show here not too long ago? Actually, now that I think about this,
I don't remember.
I think they did like 5-10 years ago, not even.
Remember what a certain person that we hung out with in Las Vegas said about the whole about this whole woke marketing? He said, "Yeah, but you know what? You're talking about it. That's what they want. They want you to talk about it."
Yeah.
We're finding out just because we're talking about it doesn't mean that's a good thing.
Like, where's the profitability in it? You know, like that. Obviously, this wasn't profitable, and they marketed it like that.
No, and I really wished Rambo would have been a hit to hit that home harder. Yeah. I mean, it's just sad that that's the situation for that one. And then you had another movie that to me was where the diversity was done very, 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 very well. And you had some strong female characters in it, plus some strong male characters, and that was Dr. Sleep, and it didn't do shit. But that's what happens
because it's like 30 years too late.
Exactly. I was going to say that's what happens when you do that. And unfortunately, Stephen King just wrote the novel not too long ago. So it was like, well, how are you going to do this? Well, nobody's going to go see it if you don't connect it to The Shining. But I had the same problem in the theater. I was pissed because a couple of the other people that were there, obviously they were with kids who had never watched The Shining. So they're sitting there explaining to the kids all the shit that's going on. And it's like, don't you think you should have prepared them for this a little bit? By at least making them watch the original movie, perhaps.
Oh, that's too scary for them.
There's no.
Oh, this is grisly as fuck. What was that, Steven? Sorry.
It's like, there's no special effects. That's too old, Mom.
Oh, you get a slight spoilers. You get a brutal killing of a young boy that is very visceral. Oh, like, really? It is horrifying.
Well, speaking of visceral, $5 from Stone Cold 10X. I think woke Hollywood will learn after losing a lot of money eventually. Larry Bernard, $2 super chat. Post-credit scene, they said RBG was an angel. And Sister Harrow, $2 Australian. They said they should have never have had Banks as a director. So
that's not so much the problem. Like the two different parts of the movie worked fine as long as they weren't together in the same movie. And that's not so much director. I mean, she needed like just maybe somebody else in there to say, yeah, focus a little. She needed maybe a co-director or another producer.
I mean, do you think the script was handed down while there was that big woke fervor? I think that's eventually going to die down.
Oh, it's very plausible.
It's dying. It's dying now.
This script's probably been around for a while, yeah.
Sadly, the last gasp of the woke fervor is going to be No Time to Die. And
if they're smart, they'll fix that now because nobody wants to see Bond holding his wife's purse and going to IKEA.
That's so
Steve,
terrible.
You a big Bond fan?
No, not especially. But I understand, like a lot of my friends are, so I can just only imagine how it's going to break their hearts. Kind of like the Doctor Who fandom. Like, you know, I know there's some crap going on in that fandom. The same thing's going on in Star Trek and Star Wars and many others. But I don't know what's going on exactly, but I understand the heartbreak because of what's happening with things that I love.
I first started going to see Bond movies with for some reason I was still kind of young at the time, but I really started first going to see Bond movies on my own with License to Kill from the Dalton one, and I always make it a point to see every Bond movie in the theater. This is the first one since then in the God, almost it's going to be 30 years that I'm actually considered giving a pass.
Wow.
I just found it, and Deranged Lunatic sent us a $2 super chat saying yes. In 2011, they did try to reboot the Charlie's Angels on ABC. It got a whole of, take a guess how many episodes it got, Rob?
Well, I'm looking at it right here, but
I'm going to say 8.
You are correct, sir.
Wow.
Isn't that a hit? So what in there did they say, oh, this is the prime time to reboot this? It didn't work 7 years ago on TV or 8 years ago on TV. Let's do it again.
Because they're pushing that woman power thing. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that if you do it right. But when it has in the climate that we're in right now with all the movies that are failing and just like how they're souring the general audiences with their messaging, this is absolutely not the right time to make this type of movie.
And you don't need to go to a movie these days. Like movies are not mandatory, right?
Hashtag movies are not mandatory.
Yeah, hashtag movies are not mandatory. And the woke is good is breaking. I mean,
well, more so not that they're not so much mandatory, which is a given. Obviously, if you don't think you're going to like something or don't want to go see something, don't fucking go see it.
Well, that's the problem, though. People are like,
sure.
No, people get upset when you say it looks like shit based on the trailer, and they're like, "Well, how do you know? You have to go see it to know that."
A trailer
that's what this is for.
A trailer's job is to get me excited for the movie. If it doesn't, the trailer didn't do its job.
Yes, it's just like a Whopper commercial. If the commercial doesn't make me hungry for a Whopper, then it failed. Okay. You know, and my thing here is I don't even have so much of a problem of you know, I love your, you know, your little slogan there, Mecca, and it's true. Movies aren't mandatory, but what I think is even more so important and not mandatory is enjoying a movie or liking a movie or pretending you like a movie when it's bullshit garbage.
Absolutely.
When like it's like, since when does the customer, and we've said this before, but it bears repeating, and this is something that should go in the book for sure, Stephen, if it isn't already in so many words. Since when in the history of the world has the customer been treated like this? The customer has always generally been treated with respect. If something's wrong, they fix it right away. They try to anyway, you know, in any other business I've ever seen before. You know, speaking of Whoppers, they even made that joke commercial for a while that they were taking the Whopper away just to get people's reactions. And, you know, it was a hell of a campaign. But of course, the whole point was they weren't taking the Whopper away. They were just having fun with it. But in this instance, this is like they're taking the Whopper away, but then they're like, well, fuck you. You should have just been happy you got the Whopper in the first place, not just be happy with this puny little shitty burger that's called the Whopper, even though you know it's not. You know, and that's the world we live in now. And it's like, oh, well, I paid for this. You know, I don't understand why it is that you expect me to pay the same price for a Whopper for a shitty little hamburger and not bitch.
In every service industry job I've ever had, the customer is always right. You know, even when they're dead wrong, you do what you can to please the customer. The customer is always right. And isn't that what entertainment is? Isn't it
in a way, yes,
a customer base?
Yeah, so, and Rob's brought up a few times, wasn't there some opera or something like that years ago that people rioted at or some shit because it was so bad or something like that, like way back?
Rites of Spring, yes, in like 1905 in Paris. It created such a fervor. People, they actually rioted in the streets.
So don't say that.
Tiberius Monk.
So I'm sick of hearing that we're the worst ones. Yeah. Sorry, Rob. I talked over you there.
That's okay. Tiberius Monk, 84, Booksmart, Captain Marvel, and Hustlers all did well this year. Elizabeth Banks, you fail. Please try again. People like good films. Go make one, please. I don't know if we put
Captain Marvel sucked.
But it had great placement. They put it right between two of the biggest movies of all time, like that.
Right. Well, I thought Captain Marvel was the biggest bait and switch of the year. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is they baited us into thinking we had to go see that fucker to know what was going to happen in Endgame. And I'll argue to anybody, you probably would have enjoyed Endgame a hell of a lot better had you not seen Captain Marvel going into it. Because there's so many people that's like, I don't understand why they don't like Endgame as much. It's like, I've watched it again since it came out, and it's like, it's a pretty damn good movie. Yeah, it doesn't hold up that great on the time travel bullshit. But, and yeah, Infinity War is the superior film. But it wasn't as bad as some people are saying. I mean, it's not getting like Last Jedi hate or anything. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, I've heard a lot of people, oh, just garbage. It's like, well, I don't know about that. So I don't know. But we do have, did we get those super chats, Robert? Did we have a couple more?
Yeah. We got one actually from Stone Cold 10X. Do look forward to more Rob's rants about Bond.
The last few, I think, have been about Bond.
The Range Lunatics 2011 TV remake, blah 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 blah. TV remake of the series, yeah.
We covered that
Sister
already.
House said
didn't we? Yeah.
Sister House says go check out Anna D. Armas's Instagram page and watch me scream.
Oh, good God, Gertie. Now what?
Hold on. I don't know. I'm going to check it while you guys carry on.
So Elmer says, fuck you. You got in the Whopper before. Now accept my cheeseburger, and it's a Whopper with an asterisk.
We've been fighting this. Oh, for Christ's sake.
Now what? Share it.
She has a blow. She has. Oh,
unless it's corn.
Sake.
What's going on?
Oh, no. Oh, good God.
Oh, no. What happened?
using Vivaldi. It's not going to let me share.
Oh, all right. Send me the link then.
Here, hold on.
Yeah, we've been talking about this shit for a lot longer than I planned on it, but
oh, for crying out loud!
You know, I wasn't even
picture next to that round head.
What?
I wasn't even excited about Ford versus Fiat. Oh.
Why would Captain America be marrying James Bond? That makes no sense.
Because she's another shipper. Because she's another idiotic shipper. And Daniel Craig and Chris Evans are in that idiotic Knives Out movie. That I hope will be the precursor to that round-headed motherfucker making a dog food commercial.
Speaking of, I think that's a good place to start talking about that. We had a truckload of announcements. Now, some of these dates we already knew, okay? But should we start with the Star Wars ones right off the bat, or
yeah,
do you want to go with the other ones? All right, we'll do the Star Wars ones first. Oh, hang on. I had them here. Okay, well, I'm just going to bring them up in our little MEAD chat here so I don't have to keep bopping back and forth, I don't think. Or no, I'll do it this way. So, here we go. I know I should have had this prepared.
No, we just don't make.
I've been fucking sick. I've been taking this new medicine, and I'm gonna quit taking it anyway. So here's the release of Star Wars movies. What's oddly enough is that doesn't look like much of a break there, does it, Rob?
Yeah, a hiatus, I believe, was the term used.
That would.
I thought they were going on. I thought they were going on a 3-year hiatus. Well, no, 3. Well, it is going to be 3 years, 3 or 4 year hiatus. Untitled Star Wars, Untitled Star Wars, Untitled Star Wars.
Well, everybody's speculating: are these Ryan's movies or are these Kevin's movies?
Ryan's not getting a trilogy. That would be just asking to completely tank the franchise.
What the hell?
Oh, Sister Harold, you didn't have to.
No, you didn't have to. No, I get pissed off, but then I come back down. Phrasing.
He's actually probably the most level-headed of us all, besides Andre. Obviously.
I get. Oh, don't get me wrong. I get riled up. I mean, but at the same time, you know.
I've only seen Rob genuinely upset outside of movie stuff maybe twice.
When Rob's ranting, I enjoy him being upset.
Like when I've actually heard him pissed. I think one of those times was a certain Matt was involved. But anyway, I don't want to get into that. Anyway, so yeah, 12, 16, 12, 20, 12, 20, 22, 22, 26. Holy shit. I'm going to be 50 before these movies come out. No, I won't quite.
I'm gonna be 50 after the first one of those comes out. Jeez.
I think they're trying to capitalize all of the energy that's kind of been whipped up. I mean, like the release of the Jedi Fallen Order and then the Mandalorian just before Episode 9, the Frankenstein of a movie that we're going to get. I think they're just trying to capitalize on all the clicks, the algorithms, the positive feedback that is being generated right now. And I that's the only thing I can guess, because other than those two things, other than Jedi Fallen Order, which has been received pretty well, and The Mandalorian, which has been received pretty well, there's no real positive buzz about Star Wars at the moment.
No, and one good week does not make up for the last 5 years of utter shit.
Yes, and that's the point that I made on the Fourth Wave. Is that I have not seen The Mandalorian yet. I have not gotten Jedi Fallen Order because I'm not spending my money, and I'm not going to give any positive attention to Disney Lucasfilm at this moment because they have been shitting on the fans for several years now. I just no apologies, and that nobody at Lucasfilm stood up for the fandom and said no, they're not toxic, and Kennedy's still there, her cronies are still there. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just holding a grudge, but when someone's been talking crap about me, not just me, but my kids who may not like it, my family who may not like it, and my friends, you've been calling us alt-right and racist and sexist and all these terrible things for so many years now. And I'm sorry, but one good date after an abusive relationship that's lasted years, I'm not ready to jump back in bed with you.
Right. And it's funny because it's not even really Star Wars. It's like Star Wars' sister.
Yeah, the prettier sister.
Ooh.
But the whole thing is about, you know, and like I said, I haven't played Jedi Fallen Order. Okay, you know, people, if anyone out there has played it, let me know, because I am curious if it's any good. But
I did see a review of it from a few people. It's getting semi-good reviews. I will say that.
It's positive.
But the whole thing, and you touched on it, Kathleen Kennedy is still there. She is the one. She is the nexus of the black hole of suck that Star Wars is in.
Mm-hmm.
And until she's gone, I don't see things getting any better, because she's probably can't wait. She's probably still trying to find a way to get her greasy little mitts on everything. She's the only reason why that the Ryan Roundhead motherfucker is still thinking he's got some kind of trilogy coming.
Yeah.
And you know, and like I said, when I watched The Mandalorian, I said, oh, you know, hey man, this isn't too bad. This is too bad. And then I was watching the credits. Executive producer Kathleen Kennedy. Oh,
well, that's just because that's just in name only. But she was, from what we've heard, she hadn't had a lot to do with anything.
But the whole thing is, her name is still associated with it.
Exactly.
And the taint, the stench of her it permeates over everything. When I watched Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom, and I saw that name produced by Kathleen. Oh, crow, no! And now everything she's associated with has a certain smell associated.
Yeah.
There is no escaping it.
Are you talking about Crystal Skull?
Everything. No, Temple of Doom. She's producer on Temple of Doom.
She's a producer of all of them. That don't matter. She was producer with Gary Marshall.
But I can't. But it's a guilt by association now.
Yeah. Are you trying to say that Temple of Doom sucks in some way? Because I'll fight tooth and nail.
No, I love Temple of Doom. I love Temple of Doom. But as soon as I saw that name, I said, "Oh, that's right." Oh,
you can't even watch a Spielberg movie without that.
Your heart just sinks for a moment, but then Rob, let it go. No, I'm not going to let it go, because you know why? Because when you ruin something I like, I will hate you forever.
I'm right there with you, Rob, and that's how I feel. It's just like the same way that The Last Jedi made The Force Awakens. Anything that I liked in The Force Awakens was just tainted because The Last Jedi was so bad. And anytime I see Kathleen Kennedy's name attached to anything, like I get that feeling, that disgusting feeling. And there's no, look, I know The Mandalorian was made by people, by Filoni and Favreau, and I know they had different people on there, but Kennedy's name is still attached to it. Any positive buzz toward anything attached to Star Wars right now reflects good on her, and she is the crux of the problem. Until she's gone, I can't be hopeful, and maybe that's me being too stringent, but that's my ultimatum. I want her cronies gone before I ever get excited or openly excited about anything Star Wars again.
There's that interview with George where they're sitting at the table, and she's just sitting there with that smug face on. It's like, I can't wait to stab this motherfucker in the back. Oh yeah. She's like, oh yeah, this is gonna be sweet. Yeah, I'm gonna ruin everything on it. Ugh. And it's just like, and just like, ugh. And you know what? I do, and I hate being mean. I hate sounding mean like this. I hate being sound petty and vindictive. I do hope her husband is fucking some 25-year-old Swedish masseuse. I really do.
She probably went Leslie, but anyway,
Baby Yoda is cute though.
Yes, Baby Yoda is cute,
I have to admit that.
And Michael loves Baby Yoda. We got a couple super chats here real quick, but I want to make a point. So let's do this real quick. Deranged Lunatic, $2. What did Rob say about Kathleen Kennedy taint? You made him sick. Good job. Mexican, what was that? You sprinkled it with goodness. Mexican and cheese, $2. Bond, please watch Charlie's Angels in a Just Course. Okay. Well, like I said before, that's pretty much what Charlie's Angels is. 3 Bonds, but are chicks in American.
I saw a picture. I went on Aston Martin's website. I saw the Super Ligera. I'm like, oh, come on. How could you not put this in the Bond movie? You got that stupid electric. Listen, I'm all for new automotive technologies, okay? And, but as James May said, if we go to something that you drive for 10 yards and it dies and it takes 4 hours to bring back to life, we've gone backwards. And a secret agent in the field, when a madman has a nuke, he can't be looking for a charging station. I'm sorry. And the Super Ligera has a top speed of 208 miles an hour. There's another reason. Come on.
It's practical though, Rob. It's very practical.
It's great.
And it comes in white, silver, and blue.
There you go.
That vehicle spells mangina.
They're just taking away 1 inch of his dick at a time.
Show the other one. Do you have the other one? The
main one that we use for the thumb, you mean?
Yeah, the unaltered one. Yeah.
I should have it somewhere here. I did.
That is not a freaking Bond car. You're right. It's not.
Oh, where'd it go?
That's a Hot Wheels.
I had it here.
That's like what is that?
Oh, I know where it's at.
30 yards.
It needs training wheels and water wings and a helmet to keep it safe.
My mom gave me $2 and she dropped me off at the park and ride.
That's not the new Bond car, but it might as well be.
I can't find the picture, Rob. I don't remember what the hell I did with it.
If this wasn't so funny, it'd be really sad.
I remember what it's called now.
Yeah.
Find it. I had it here.
Kind of really sad.
No. But the whole thing, but this whole thing, again, Kathleen, there you go. Look how
It's a France.
Look how sad he looks.
What do you call a bunch of homeless guys having sex?
That's because he's waiting on the side of the road for somebody to pick him up.
The soup kitchen.
This was a dumb idea.
I told Q, I don't want to drive a fucking Prius. I told him. Maybe do it anyway.
That's a car after you're so hard up you have to sell one testicle to pay the bills, Jeez.
But getting back to Star Wars though, I mean, where could the series possibly go? I mean, a lot of people say, yeah, do the Old Republic. But at the same time,
this is Disney and Lucasfilm. You don't want Disney and Lucas doing anything. Yeah. That's the problem. It's like we've had crap for this long, and like Stephen Walton was saying, we don't forget everything they said. I mean, some people did. Some people were so quick to say, "Oh, everything is forgiven. We love Disney again." And that's fine. I'm happy that they're they really, that kind of shows that they really want to like Star Wars and we're not just a bunch of haters. But at the same time, I've had all kinds of shit because of not liking movies and TV. I've had death threats. I've had Pablo Hidalgo call me out. And I got a lot of shit for not liking the first episode of The Mandalorian. I'm going to stand by that. That's not a very good episode. That's really, really not. There's a lot of crap that I don't care about in it. And I'm not so eager to suck Mickey's dick and go right back to them because, they've just hit me in the face a few too many times.
Yeah, some of the Fixie Clary, Petty Little Light, $2 super chat. Fallen Order isn't bad, but you can wait for a price drop. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I want to play Death Stranding.
The thing is about these 3 movies coming up, what I've heard, the rumor going around is that they are Feige's movies. And the rumor going around is that he's supposed to be giving them the Marvel treatment. And here's the thing, if Feige's around, then that means KK ain't going to be able to do much. Because Feige don't answer to KK.
Kevin, make sure you put a strong female character in this movie. Yeah, that's nice, Kathleen. Go. Hey, what's Frank doing these days? I think it was, who's Frank doing these days?
I think it was
did I say Gary? I said Frank. I should have said Frank earlier, not Gary.
Bear Nerd Fun was listening to, or they were looking at The Mandalorian. I think it was episode 1, him and Immortal Coil, and they found out that some of the music, one of the tracks from the Rocky, what was it? It was Going the Distance from Rocky. Was used in the background or like cut up or sampled in The Mandalorian. I guess that's because Carl Weathers was in there. I just thought that was interesting. I'm going to bring that up.
Yeah, Neil says Kenny's just a figurehead, but I want her gone. That's the thing. She'll try. She's not going to go without a fight. That's the thing. And as long as she's there, she will try to summon her acolytes to worm their way back into a position where she can have some sort of influence. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. I don't, because I've been a producer in this town for 35 years. How dare Kevin Feige tell me what to do? You know, but go. Yeah, get lost. Hey, Kathy, you know, I got to, you know.
They'll probably distract her with Indiana Jones because that's coming up here, Rob.
Yeah. Oh, I can ruin another franchise now. You know.
Well, what about after she's gone, though?
Kathy, I want you to.
No, it doesn't matter. She's got her little hooks in that, like Amy Pascal does into Spider-Man, because she's a producer on the original films. She has a bit of that. So even if they were to fire her, they'd still be stuck working with her on Indiana Jones.
I mean, they kind of box themselves into a corner too, with the Me Too movement and Respect Women. So they can't fire her either. And I think that's being used as a shield by a lot of these types of people in Hollywood right now.
She's the fetch coffee. You're right. She's the fetch coffee for Spielberg. She's Spielberg's coffee girl, literally.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, here's some more movies that nobody gives a shit about. So yeah. Of course, as we knew, these are supposed to bounce in between the Star Wars movies. I really think this is going to be called Disney's Folly here. I don't see Avatar being this big fucking franchise. Nobody cares about
Avatar.
It's 10 years too fucking late for one thing. And it's just Avatar. Where are you going to go with it?
They would have to go beyond the planet. They would have to go into Earth, and they would have to go into the surrounding systems. You would have to expand it further, at least if they're going to go more than one more movie.
We said about Avatar years ago on my old podcast, Reality Wasted, the only thing you learn from Avatar is that even in the future, white people suck. So that's making it.
Good point. So let's move on from that, because who gives a shit about Avatar, right? I mean, really, I have a hard time thinking that many people care, at least
it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's going to be called Disney's Folly. I really do. The next one we got here is Shang-Chi and Legends of the Ten Rings. We already knew about that for 2021. Or 2/12, I mean, not 2/21. I'm dyslexic today. Doctor Strange is coming in May of 21. Cruella de Vil is 5/28 of 21.
What?
Yeah, that's the one with Emma Stone. I think didn't they have a teaser poster or something like that already for that? I've seen something with her. Anyway, untitled Pixar movie for June 18th. And here you go, Rob. Indiana Jones 5. June 9th, July 9th, 2021.
Oh, man.
Let's ask Harrison Ford. Harrison, how do you feel about working on the new Indiana Jones movie?
I gotta get up tomorrow. Do stuff.
I do, as much as I love Indiana Jones, I really would be more excited if they were just gonna recast the role and with Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, go with take Anthony Gruber, go into the past, go before Raiders, and go into a time when he was the grave robber. Build the character from there, from when he was more, scrupulous kind of character, and then go forward.
Mid 1920s, Yeah.
I mean, because part of the appeal of that film was that it was, in the past. It was nostalgic for the generation before, and then it also introduced, there was a lot of relatable themes to that, from that generation and the people that were just a few decades removed from it. And reintroducing it now, I think, would be fun if they went back into the 20s with a decent casting. But man, if you're busting Harrison Ford out again, like, what's he searching for? The golden diaper?
Indiana Jones is the retirement home of Doom. Yeah, but it's in. This is Kathleen Kennedy. Like I said, this is kind of her plum job, I guess. Is Indiana. Well, it's another franchise she gets to ruin.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. And what else can it be but, Harrison Ford sitting around watching a strong female character do shit?
It's a lot of body double. There's going to be a lot of body double.
Right. Speaking of a strong female character sitting around doing shit, then we also get Thor and Love and Thunder on November 5th, 2021, but we already knew that.
I'm excited for that one.
Aren't you?
Well, I'm excited for making fun of it.
The only one I'm looking forward to is the Doctor Strange movie. I am looking forward to that one. I want to see if they're going to use that to reintroduce the X-Men.
Yeah, that's a good question. Okay. Speaking of,
a lot of mileage out of that.
Here's some newer movies that we have to look coming up this next year. The Eternals will be here in November.
It's not the Eternals. It's the fucking Power Rangers. It's the fucking. No, it's worse. It's the Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
So you have a lot of pent up feelings about this, Rob.
What was that?
So you have a lot of pent up feelings about this one, Rob?
They got to make sure all the freaking colors of the rainbow that are represented.
They're magically delicious. Raya and the Last Dragon, whatever that is, on 11/25/20. West Side Story reboot from Steven Spielberg next Christmas, and The Last Duel, whatever that is.
Hey, Yellow Flash is in the chat. Yellow Flash.
Hey, Yellow Flash, how you doing, man?
Hell, Yellow Flash.
Hold on. Can we add him?
Hey.
He can message me on Twitter or something. Definitely. I don't know if I got him, but I don't know if I can message him.
Brie Larson will be the next Indiana Jones. Watch. Please don't give them any ideas, Yellow Flash.
Did you see the what was the thing? She was on the Bear Grylls thing, and she's like, "I want to be the next Indiana Jones."
Oh,
this is my audition for Indiana Jones. Shut up. Shut up.
Oh.
Shut up, you.
But they screwed up in Humans. What makes me think they're going to do anything good with Eternals, especially after seeing the freaking costume tests and the casting, which make it look cheap and just like a movie from the 90s.
So it's the Immortals all over again.
Didn't they race swap a couple of those characters too?
They race swap and gender swap a lot of characters, and they had to go out of their way to make sure they told you, oh, it's going to feature the first gay character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Oh, shut up. I don't fucking care.
I only care if she's the first gay character if we can see some scissoring. Do we see scissoring?
Yes, I'm with Mecca.
No, seriously. I get so tired of this crap.
We named the dog Indiana.
Dad.
I just had to do that.
Oh, good. The Last Crusade. I love that movie.
All right, so then there was one more of these to go that we had, and this has a bunch of them on there. Mm-hmm. So this will finish this bit off for us.
You know what though? Just before we go on, when people say, what about, you can't race swap this character? What if so and so played? What if you had Tom Hanks play Martin Luther King? Well, that's different because it's a real person, and you can't race swap a real person. I'm like, bullshit. They've already done it. Dwayne Johnson was in Walking Tall, which is about a real life Southern sheriff named Buford T. Pusser.
That is correct.
I didn't know that.
Nikki D, $10 super chat. Do you think the guy's new direction for Thor will ultimately hurt the brand? Yes. Heard a rumor Natalie Portman's female Thor may take over Hemsworth's Thor in her own trilogy. They would be idiotic, and they'd be signing their cinematic death warrant if they did.
Yeah, I sent Yellow Flash a link in his Twitter, I believe.
Yeah, I think they're only going to use that. I think they're only going to be using that just for the marketing, because I think we're right at the very beginning of a massive, oh crap, look at Terminator flopped and Charlie's Angels is flopping. And we need like a major, we all knew Terminator would flop. The last few haven't really done super, super hot, right?
I wish they would have done another Captain Marvel sooner so they could have seen it flop.
Yeah.
Or at least it won't flop, but it would have done a hell of a lot less.
Yeah.
I heard the Bob's Burgers movie got removed from the slate.
No, it's there. Well, hopefully it didn't get removed. It's on this slate, but it might get moved to like Hulu or something. You never know. If they don't think it's viable enough to make a theatrical release out of that, I can see.
Bob's Burgers is the TV show?
Yeah, they're making a movie, but it was one of the Fox movies that was lucky enough to be in production already when the sale took over.
Are they going with the more like horror aspect original idea, or are they going to just make it a continuation?
As far as I know, it's just supposed to be a movie of the show, so it's probably just going to be a lot in the same vein of like the Simpsons movie, probably. Okay. I'd imagine.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, here it is. Here it is, Tom. Hold on. From cartoonbrew.com, Disney pulls Bob's Burgers feature off release schedule and delays Nimona is Noelle Stevenson, the person who's currently ruining She-Ra. That's her.
Oh God! No.
See that? When was that story? Because this list is from this morning, and that other movie is not on there.
This is from yesterday. 7:58
Hey, well, it looks
PM.
like Bob Burgers is still on the list, but maybe it just got moved to Hulu. Does it say there?
Feature adaptation TV series Bob's taken off the studio's release schedule. Disney has previously set the release date for July 17, 2020. Update: someone on Twitter asked Bob's Burgers creators Lauren Bouchard about the status of the film. His response was, "Fear not." In other words, the film is still coming, just not in the theater on July 17, 2020.
That tells me it's going to Hulu, just as I thought.
Oh.
That means they didn't think it was going to make enough money. Yeah.
Really, who's going to see Bob's Burgers in the theater, though? It's not The Simpsons.
Yeah, I didn't think it was. That was what I was thinking. It was a poor move. This is a smart move, moving it to Hulu. Anyway, you were saying something, Rob?
Well, just think about Noelle Stevenson, because we all want a good laugh right now. No, Nimona, the Blue Sky Studios feature based on Noelle Stevenson's comic, directed by Patrick Osborne's Disney's Feast, has been delayed over 10 months from March 5th to 2021 to January 14, 2022. Prior to Disney's takeover, Fox had announced the release date of February 14, 2020. It is the last Blue Sky film that had been officially announced as moving into production. The future of the studio under Disney's ownership remains unclear at this time, though next month Disney will release Blue Sky's latest pick, Spies in Disguise. So up yours, Noelle.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, the rest of this slate goes as Onward 3/6/20, Mulan March 27th, 2020, Black Widow comes in May 1st, 2020. So they're trying to take that. See, Black Widow deserved her own fucking movie before Captain Goddamn Marvel. I'm so sorry. What
was the Captain Marvel getting cut out of Ultron crap that I saw this weekend?
I don't know about that. If anything, it was probably because of Ike Perlmutter.
Yeah, she was like supposed to be. She had like a cameo in Ultron, and it was in some box set or something that somebody grabbed a screenshot of. It was just a deleted scene.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Who the hell played her?
I don't remember. I didn't really read the article. I thought everybody else was running with it, but
oh no, I never even. This is the first I heard about it.
Let me find it.
Well, while you're doing that, The Woman in the Window, what comes out 5/15, 2020, whatever that is. Artemis Fowl 5/29. Soul comes out 6/19. Free Guy comes out 7/3. Bob's Burgers questionable, but maybe on Hulu. Jungle Cruise is the next movie from Disney. They're trying to do their rides and attractions as movies. You think they're trying to cash in on a little bit of the Jumanji thing with that?
Yeah, why not? I mean, Jumanji's been mildly. I think Jumanji's been more successful than they anticipated. That's why they have the other one, the new one coming out.
Yeah,
I'm more looking forward to that than Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then The King's Man comes out on November 18th, and Death on the Nile comes out 10/9/20. Now, Death on the Nile, isn't that the sequel to?
Perot?
Huh?
Nice title.
Hercule Poirot.
Is it? Oh, I'm excited for that one. I like the last
It's
one.
the sequel to the
The
Death on
remake
the
of the sequel of the remake of Murder on
yeah,
the
the
Orient
train
Express.
movie. I can't remember the title
I
of
liked
it now.
it. But I like that. I love that era of time. I like the stuffy Britishy Agatha Christie stuff. Anyway, I mean, like, I'm
Death
looking forward
on
to
the
that.
Orient Express. That's what it was. I couldn't
Yeah.
think of the name. Or Murder on the Orient Express. Yeah.
Speaking of train movies, is anybody a fan of the movie Silver Streak with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor?
Of course.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, just hey, watch party.
Is it free on YouTube?
I don't know about that. I know the Blu-ray's out of print and it went up in price though.
It's got to be. It's got to be free somewhere.
All right, let's look up this thing, and then wasn't there a couple other things we had to cover, Rob? Because I know you mentioned a few things in the intro, and I was like, oh yeah. There's something to do with Disney Plus and something else.
Disney. Some of the movies might have an expiration date.
Yes. We'll get to that. I think that was the other thing you mentioned. Other than that, I hope we didn't forget anything. Let's do this Captain Marvel bit first, since Mecca brought it in here.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a deleted scene.
Apparently, it's got a picture from it.
Oh, at the end.
Oh, okay. That was supposed to be Captain Marvel, huh?
Yeah. Negative folks have hated on the character and Brie Larson's portrayal.
No, shut up.
We're not negative.
She's negative.
I'm sorry, I don't like sexist, racist, rich twats.
Yeah.
I'm negative for that.
Oh, it's okay to call her a
Now that all your furniture
Okay.
I'm offended she's fucking white and entitled. So there.
Yeah, I'm offended she needs to play the white savior, and which is a little bit insulting to ethnic quote unquote minorities that she's trying to be superior. I mean, be empowering to.
Gets offended on behalf of.
Yes.
I really hope she gets a taste of her own medicine, and Captain Marvel 2 is the little girl all grown up taking over the mantle of Captain Marvel, and she's hardly in the motherfucker. I really do.
Well, we already have Monica Rambeau cast.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Wow.
So
I have to bring the X-Men in and then introduce Rogue, and then Rogue can murder her, and I'll be happy.
Do you think Kevin Feige brought her and called her to the office and showed her that issue? Says Brie, I want you to take a look at this. That could be you very easily if you don't shut your mouth.
Shut your hole and know your role.
Really, that's exactly. That's a great thing to hold over her head.
Perhaps she opened it again and just serviced Feige, and now we're going to get Captain Marvel 2.
I love that it's a GIF on Twitter and people just keep retweeting it at her.
Now,
just to kind of, yeah.
Now, the people that hacked in and found these expiration dates, are these the same people that hacked in and are selling the Disney Plus?
Yeah, that was the other thing in the news that not a lot of people went with too. But all that BBC did.
We brought it up a few times now, but it's more in passing than anything because I don't know who's all been affected or how bad it's been to this point. So, but we did have this. Some people were digging around in the Disney app, like they got underneath the hood, and they found some expiration dates among the films. And then there was a statement saying, "Oh yeah, that the movies will go away, but you'll be able to download them to your app and enjoy them anytime." Now, I have yet to come across any way to be able to download anything from Disney Plus. And unless anybody else out there knows how, tell me. Something's not adding up here because we were told by Bob Iger there was no longer going to be a vault. Movies were not going to be leaving Disney Plus. Now, I know there's a situation where we have a lot of movies that aren't going to be there until their license expires, and there may be some Fox titles that might get pulled because they have licenses elsewhere that are going to kick in or something that were made, deals made before Disney. But a lot of that stuff has come to the point where that's going to be, ending soon anyway. The sale's been long enough ago now that I'm sure 2-3 years out, they'll be able to get everything back underneath the Disney roof. But anyway, Rob, I don't know if you want to read the story or not, but go ahead.
Blah, 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 blah. It's been nearly a week since the launch of Disney Plus, which means has been plenty of time devoted to browsing its categories, see how poorly those Disney Channel original movies aged, and request The Muppet Show's inclusion. Yeah, actually, that's not on there, The Muppet Show? No?
Not the original, unfortunately.
No,
That's one question. I think that might be.
That's all the songs, right? That's
I was
usually
going to say it
music.
probably has something to do with licensing the songs and shit. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But one user found some information on the application's files that at least as first seems like bad news for viewers. Stitch Kingdom, a Twitter account dedicated to Disney, publicized its discovery that most movies on Disney Plus have an expiration date set for next year. Some are set to expire in 2021, and others look due to expire later this month. So we have Stitch Kingdom, appears region US, and okay. Adventures of Bullwhip Griffin, never heard of it. Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Never came out. Several titles have the expiration date set for 2019. Princess and the Frog is set to expire November 25th, and we'll see how well that goes. But hold on, before you start worrying about not having permanent access to the Princess and the Frog, assuming that's a thing someone might worry about, there are two reasons to relax. First, Disney CEO Bob Iger announced nearly a month ago that movies you've downloaded from Disney Plus will still be available to stream even if they leave the service. An unheard of and very subscriber-friendly feature of the streaming platform. Yeah. Secondly, it is very possible that the expiration dates are just placeholders. Disney owns everything on Disney Plus. Netflix, Amazon, and other streaming services routinely, quote-unquote, lose content because separate companies own them, which means deals expire and or aren't renegotiated. With Disney, there's no external force that can make it put any title back into the Disney vault.
So okay, according to Mr. Wolverine, you could do it on the app, but I have not been able to do it yet on the PS4 or the computer. I don't want to watch shit on my little fucking phone.
Yeah, I don't want to watch stuff on my phone if I can avoid it.
I don't watch shit on my phone unless it's YouTube, because 9 times out of 10 that's more of a audible experience than it is a visual.
Well, but can you cast it to a TV?
I don't care. I probably won't get the reason I use the PS4 app is so I get the good picture and the proper 5.1 surround sound and shit. And that's another thing they're boasting that because they have a lot of stuff. I think Disney Plus has the most Dolby Atmos movies and shit like that available. I could be wrong on that, but they still boast all that shit. Even those original Star Wars movies have it.
McClunky.
Why did they do that?
That was George. That was George, and they even already said that. That I knew. I knew for a fact that was George.
I don't care if McClunky means it's supposed to mean you're dead. It sounds stupid.
It sounds like all the jibber jabber dialogue in the stupid prequels.
That's what it's from. It was said in the prequels. It was said by Sebulba to Anakin.
Oh, that's why it sounds stupid.
McClunky.
It all comes back to why does he have such a hard on for Sebulba? I have a Star Wars trivia game, and I kid you not, 9 out of 10 answers are Sebulba and Anakin, and those are the only 2 answers in this thing because it came out right or after Episode 1 came out. I want to say
he's trying to legitimize the Phantom Menace is what it is. Trying to make it into a.
That's all he's been doing since day one, besides trying to make sure that his ex-wife didn't get any money. But anyway, I mean, as far as this, I don't know about this whole thing about if they're going to really expire or not. I think it's more of a placeholder thing, or they maybe have a different version that's going to take it over, perhaps, or something like that. Maybe they haven't got the 4K version of Princess and Frog yet. Maybe they will, and that's why they're going to swap it out, perhaps. You know what I mean? Something to that effect.
Yeah, probably. They're always updating stuff. Yeah. Donnie Pearson, McClunky means this is the end of you.
It's a McClunky line, is what it is.
Yes.
Somebody said, "What about Bob
of a line?"
Baba Booey.
So. Yeah, Jarbo the Hutt. Yeah.
When does that little prick has been taking shots at Jeremy? So, when does the next Baby Yoda episode come out? The
Friday.
Baby Yoda show. Friday. Okay.
The Baby Yoda.
That's all it is to her. It's the Baby Yoda show.
Yeah.
You gotta admit, it's a a stroke of genius.
She is checking Amazon and every other place every fucking night, just waiting for the toy.
Baby Yoda.
I have a life-size fizz gig, for crying out loud. Like, I spent way too much money on this thing. I want a Baby Yoda puppet, and I want it screen accurate. Damn it, KK! If you don't, I'm gonna smack you.
But
Not
you don't
like
want
for reals, but
you don't want a Babu Frick toy?
Baba Booey.
No,
Babu Frick, no, baby fucking Yoda.
Baba Booey.
I've been a Yoda fan forever. No, Baby Yoda or nothing.
Well, they hooked me.
You know, let me tell you something though. That's one thing that this new Disney era of Star Wars hasn't been able to do, is give you something that is marketable, that you can't live without. You know, until Baby Yoda. You know how a lot of it has just been recycled, the same recycled crap, and honestly, nobody gives a shit about most of the stuff they've introduced. And even
Rob, don't you think that there's going to be a demand for the Space Horses?
oh, for God's sake!
No.
Goodbye, horses.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Baby Yoda.
Look at him! Look at him!
You're cute. Oh, yeah, baby.
That's a cuteness overload.
Mm-hmm.
It really
I
is.
love him. You know what happens when I see something cute? I gotta squeeze things. It's so cute. That's the only reason to have pores. Just a stupid squishy cute face. Oh
It does. It looks like a hairless gizmo, though.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that. Well, have you ever seen the? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's good about it. It's so cute.
Never mind. I'm not gonna go there. I know it's adorable. I love it too. But we'll have to see if it actually goes anywhere. The yodeling.
Well, it's
yes.
already better than everything in the Disney trilogy.
Yodeling.
That was the Spork News or whatever this podcast. Sporking News podcast came up with that. Yeah. I said, okay, that settles it. Then it's called Baby Funko Yodeling. Or Funko Baby Yodeling.
A lot more interesting than Babu Frick.
Baba Booey.
So
yeah,
Babu Frick's just a CGI rat turd monkey
Baba Booey.
monster.
every time you say him, I got to play that sound.
I totally forgot he existed, to be honest. Those Mary Sue ladies are probably going to have their heads explode. They loved Babu Frick.
Baba Booey.
And like, oh, wait until you see baby fucking Yoda. Oh, God. He's the cutest thing.
Oh, Lord.
We have anything else to talk about? I mean,
I'm trying to remember if you teased anything else in the intro or not. I got RoboCop on Blu-ray today in the mail.
oh, yeah. You found a certain movie. Should we say which one? Can we say which one? But a certain movie that's been hard to find.
Somebody sent it to me.
Oh, we have the Star Trek stuff, too.
So I think I can
Star
say it.
Trek? Yeah, do we have Star Trek? That's actually no.
Star Trek news is happening.
Oh God, I hope it's good news.
No, it's
But
never good news.
That's kind of the whole thing, though. I mean, we've been told there's another organization that CBS that we've been told, shut up, you'll like what we tell you to like.
Yeah.
For the last 2.5, 3 years.
I got to do the super chat here. $5. $5 for my Jingle All the Way featuring Andre Soapbox. It's the greatest holiday film of all time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Arnold wants another last action hero.
Put the cookie down.
Our relationship is not sexual. Oh God, one of the worst lines.
We don't have a sexual relationship because she's not my maid. I don't know what's going on with the new RoboCop. That's a very good question, Christian Garcia. I have not heard thing one out of the RoboCop camp since Blomkamp walked away.
I kind of liked the reboot of RoboCop.
It wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
I like that it took a little bit. See, now this is what I've said. The original film is about a man losing his humanity and gaining it back. In this one, it's about a man losing his humanity. throughout the film, and then he gets it back, of course. But it's like a reversal, and the only thing I didn't really like about the new movie was something that they knew in the original movie they couldn't really do, and that was they had the family as a central focal point of the new movie, which like the original movie is like you can't have fun if you got a grieving family sitting there through the whole damn movie, and that's the one thing that I think drags down this new one and makes it too serious, because that was what I loved about the first movie. It's a very tongue-in-cheek graphic novel type movie, you know. And it doesn't hold back, and it just goes over the top. And you know, Paul Verhoeven and the writers knew exactly what they were doing with that movie.
And future '80s movies are generally good, I think.
And it was so ahead of its time too, and it was just lucky enough to be a hit, even though it was ahead of its time. You know, I mean, the sequels.
What is it about the '80s? I mean, that kind of makes it this, this.
I think it was the talent more so.
Really,
the talent and vision. I mean, you had a lot of creators coming out of the '70s that were trying new things that it kind of, I don't want to say perfected, but it become really, really good at the art that they were creating. And then the '80s was an explosion of technology. It was a renaissance of technology, and so it I think it ignited a lot of imaginations in creators in Hollywood, which is why we got such good movies in the '80s.
You know, it's we got a lot. I mean, we got a lot of really good movies out of the '80s. Beverly Hills Cop, Back to the Future. I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Empire Strikes Back. I mean,
Terminator,
Crocodile Dundee. A lot of Terminator. It was a golden age for comedies too at the movies.
Yeah.
What was the last? What was the last big comedy we have? We haven't had a really big comedy in ages.
Not a big one. The probably last big ones would have been like the Hangover movies.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And they were just kind of mediocre.
And I didn't like the first one. So never seen it. It was the Coke in the '80s. That probably helped.
Yeah.
I got a fucking idea. I wrote 6 movies in one night.
Early Ryan Reynolds movies were also good too. He made some good comedies.
Van Wilder.
Part of it was you had CGI came into the picture and ruined a lot of shit, in my opinion. And computers really made movies sterile, and there was just no organicness to them anymore. You didn't have, the workaround. You didn't have to think clever on your feet, because you could just fix it in post. And then, like the comedies died when the PC culture came back around again. That's what happened there. Is you couldn't do anything funny anymore if, you offended somebody.
Talk about thinking on your feet though. I mean, when I was in the improv group, we were making some short films. We made one, the guy gets pulled over by a cop. And they kept saying, where are we going to get a cop car? Where are we going to get a cop car? And I told them, you don't need a cop car. And they said, what do you mean we don't need a cop car? I said, we just got to give people the idea that there's a cop car behind them. Some flashing lights. So you get the guy just, maybe you just show the flashing lights through the windshield, and you have a guy in a cop uniform get out and you give him a stern talking to. I mean, that's all you need. And it's that kind of stuff that, like I said, because we didn't have the technology's not available, it doesn't force people to be more creative. Now, just like, throw more CGI on it.
Yeah.
Remember all the promises we got after Lord of the Rings? Like, oh yeah, you know what? This technology is going to open up so many different avenues with storytelling.
No, it just made them all fucking lazy.
Yeah. You're going to see things you've never seen before. All we got was the same shit over and over again. How many Adam Sandler movies did we get after that?
The problem is it's the same tool bringing everything to life. Throughout the 80s and 90s and even into the early 70s, you had a plethora of different kind of things to bring, whatever it was they were doing. Like, that's why I loved horror movies in the 80s, the slasher movies and stuff. Because you'd sit there and you'd watch and you go, how the fuck did they do that? How did they make that look real? And of course, it's a whole process of different tricks and different ways of either putting the camera a certain direction or, but all of it was done in camera on set, and you didn't have to go, we'll just fix it later in post. You know, you didn't have that all the time. You didn't have that ability to just say, oh, we'll just fix it with computers later. And instead of using the computer as a tool to hide the strings and hide the poles and hide, you know, all the, you know, the tape and the bubble wrap, instead they just create everything inside a computer now. And it just feels sterile and it feels dead and it doesn't feel lively. And that's why I was not a huge fan of the prequels. Don't get me wrong. I think they have their place and I don't begrudge anybody who likes them, but that's one of the reasons I don't like them is because they feel like they were shot on fucking green screen. Like that's all it was, you know. It's like,
yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of it was. I'm a prequel defender, but that's one gripe that I have with it is it was too much green screen, not enough puppeteering, and some of the classic elements that just adds a bit of realism to the movie.
Right, and it feels very sterile and unreal.
Yeah, well, Tim Riggs had a $4.99 super chat. Where did it go?
It's up on the screen, Rob.
You can't make a good comedy if you're completely out of touch with the audience. If you think snark is the same as a joke, or if you are a smug ass, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That's pretty much why Ghostbusters failed. Yeah.
But let me ask though. Let me just put the question to everybody. But Fellowship of the Ring was only 2 years removed from Phantom Menace. I mean, granted, a better story, but you know, but how do you account for the use of CGI in Fellowship of the Ring and how well it's used there and how good it looks? And I mean, did it just advance that much in those 2 years? I mean, what am I missing?
Well, I think it was also surrounded in Fellowship because they put a lot of physical work. You know, like there were people that were putting together that chainmail armor a ring at a time. You know, there were so many people working on the sets and trying to make it as real as possible. You know, I mean, like actual sets that you could touch. And when you couple that with special effects, with like CGI and stuff, then I think it just adds a little bit more validity. You know, so it's easier to hide the computer generated graphics a little bit more.
Well, and I brought this up before on the first Lord of the Rings trilogy. There isn't as much CGI as people think. Now, the big battles and all that kind of crap, yeah, that's all CGI. But a lot of the other stuff is forced perspective and other things to where you have Gandalf sitting like close to the camera and they have a table that's separated and it's made to look because of just a visual trick that it's the same table, but it's not. But you have Elijah Wood sitting in a completely different table a little bit farther away to where he looks that much smaller than Gandalf.
Mm-hmm.
And they have other actors who come in and had masks and other things that they would trick it to make you think that these things were real. Then by the time they got to, you know, the Hobbit movies, it was all green screen, all of it, to the point where there's a famous story of Ian McKellen breaking down during the making of The Hobbit and crying because he got sick and tired of working on green screen and he just wanted to work on a real set with actors.
Right.
And that's where you've gotten to is this new generation of actors. They're all trained to work on green screen and shit like that. That's the whole, and it started with George Lucas, sadly, and that's the prequels is where it all started. Because before that, they were using it sparingly here and there in certain places, and you had a few moments where you had some really cool, you know, visuals that were done with computers that people hadn't seen before. But we were getting to that point where everybody had seen it and everybody knew how it was done. So this thing to go with what Rob's saying is, you know, we didn't get anything that we've never quote unquote seen before because it's the same old bag of tricks over and over and over. Just like when CG first became a thing. Remember, everybody wanted to use the morphing effect after the black and white video, the Michael Jackson video. You know, they used it in that. They used it in Willow. They used it in like a dozen other movies, Mario Brothers, all kinds of shit in that era. It was like, oh, that's the new thing. Everybody's doing the morph. You know, that was the first effect that ILM came up with for the computer. Yeah. Outside of just straight animation anyway, vector animations and shit.
It's too much green screen. We don't need that much. Well, that's the thing with the people in the Snyder cut. Like they're like, oh, release the Snyder cut. It's all green screen. You're gonna see a bunch of people standing around in green
pajamas.
Yeah, with motion tracking balls on their faces and on their jumpsuits.
Oh, that's actually something that was going around the Snyder release. The Snyder cut. It's picking up traction on Twitter, but
I've been hearing some rumors. We may get a a Snyder cut, but it's not going to be what fucking people think it's going to be.
They think it's going to save the movie. It's not.
I'm just wondering if it's going to change the movie. Like,
not really. It's just basically a bunch of deleted scenes and darker tinted scenes. That's really all it is. It's not. There's a few things that you'll get to see, and they'll be like, oh, cool, that's cool. That could have been a cool idea, but it doesn't matter. Any cool ideas that come out of this, we're never going to see to fruition. They had so many different people going in and out of this situation that by the time you got, Joss Whedon involved, and then, Snyder left and all this other stuff, I don't know if you're ever going to be able to put together a true Snyder cut. I don't know. Now, there was a rough cut that was comprised of Snyder's footage. I don't know if it was a complete film or not, though. That's my question. Some people claim it is. And what I mean by complete film is not the special effects. But I mean, no, we don't have to go out and shoot any more scenes. The story flows. We just need to fix the effects now. You know what I mean? And if they do that, they're still not going to spend the $50-60 million on effects they would normally for a theatrical movie. So the special effects are going to look cheesy as fuck. I guarantee it. If they do anything, it'll look like TV level special effects. Because these movies are wall-to-wall special effects. This isn't like when they updated, Star Trek the motion picture for the director's edition, where there was like 5, 6, 7 maybe digital effects they did specifically for that movie, and they did it for real cheap. But a lot of it was just a lot of backgrounds and little piddly shit that you can do real cheap and easy. This is not piddly shit you can do just cheap and easy. This is some high-end shit here, and it ain't gonna, I don't know, it just ain't gonna fly, to steal a pun from Superman. I don't think it's gonna be what the fans want. And yeah, frack off Felger Crab, that's what I was gonna get to. $5 says it's gonna be something they're gonna use to sell HBO Max with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Star Trek news? Somebody said Star Trek.
Oh yes, we went off the beat path. Mecca brought this to my attention. I don't know if she wants to intro it.
Which one?
There's 2 Star Trek stories.
Which thing? Well, they have the official timeline, but screw their timeline.
That thing's I don't want to get into that. That's a whole big mess. Yeah. Because they left off Discovery and they're like, it was an accident or some bullshit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was funny.
They're starting to disavow.
The one you have here, is this the one that has it or doesn't have it?
Yeah, well, it's just a Facebook post from an actor. He was the most famous red shirt, it looks like. Yeah,
this bothers me. I mean, let me find it here.
Yeah, scroll. Yeah, just scroll back in the.
There it is. I got it.
Here, I can screen share.
I got it. Okay.
We have
Yeah.
Nikki D, $5. If Birds of Prey tanks, will that prompt Hollywood to pump the brakes on the cringy female-centric films? I hope so.
God, I hope so.
I would say yes.
Looking better than Batwoman and Charlie's Angels, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I don't think Birds of Prey is going to tank, but if it does, I would hope that they would pump the brakes.
Batwoman, she's the woman, the Batwoman.
Women.
Too many people like Harley Quinn to let that movie fail, but God, I don't want to see it. I just don't know.
I like Harley Quinn, but I don't. And I like the actress, but I don't trust what they're doing with it, the material. I don't know.
David Ross, Star Trek Original Series, the Gene Roddenberry Tribute Group, just been informed that CBS has put me on their blacklist. They don't want me to be associated with Star Trek any longer. It's because my popularity has gone up since they came out with the Dead Man Walking shirt that I'm on. I was asked to autograph the t-shirts for a company, and CBS said absolutely not. I'm sure I won't be invited to the next Star Trek convention. You probably won't see pictures of me and any Star Trek PR. I think it's over the contract, but I signed with them almost 8 years ago. I was told I was the most popular red shirt. I'm hoping to clear this up very soon. Oh, screw you, CBS.
What?
Yep.
Screw you, man. Here's a guy who's a better brand ambassador than anybody associated with STD. And this is how you
STD people. No, because he's an old white dude, and that's their agenda. Look at how they treat William Shatner on Twitter. Look at the type of people that they favor. Your Mary Chiefos who go around with their SJW bullshit.
I was at a comic book show this weekend, and the guy who was running it, a guy by the name of Charles, I've known for years, and I told him about how I went to we went to the Star Trek convention at the Rio, and he's familiar with the Rio, and he knows exactly the hallway I was talking about. And I told him about the Mary Chiefo incident. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Get out!" I said, "No, man, she glowered at us." And I don't get to use the word glower very often. Oh man,
the SJWs do not respect what came before them.
Steven, we told you about that, right?
No, I don't think you did.
Well, okay. Mecca, you tell the story.
Well, we were walking by through, I think we were just going back to, the rooms or something. And we were walking by this giant Tribble display, and we overheard somebody who worked at the little display where you can get your picture taken with a bunch of, like a pile of, fake Tribbles that are all stripy and weird colors. The woman working there said, "Oh no, I've never seen Discovery." So Rob and I think we were saying to each other, "Oh no, you shouldn't watch it." And we're kind of laughing at her as we're walking, but right in front of us, we look up and crosses all 6 feet tall of Mary Chiefo overhearing, and we felt bad until she started attacking and telling everybody, "Oh, you should be more inclusive." It's like, maybe you shouldn't be a bigoted cunt,
Yeah. Well, actually, what had happened was that they were talking, and the person said to the people running the table, said, I haven't seen Star Trek Discovery," and the person running the table said, "Yeah, don't watch it." And I looked at you and I said, "Yeah." And they told her, they said not to watch it. You said they told them not to watch it. Yeah, nobody should be watching Discovery. And then that's when we crossed paths with Mary Chiefo.
Oh yeah, we were talking to each other. I mean, it's not like we were, but we're loud.
Right. Well, you had an opinion that wasn't sanctioned. So
yes. I'm surprised we were allowed there. I'm really surprised we were allowed there, especially with me walking through there, getting recognized, probably more than some of the actors.
That's awesome.
That was something. Excuse me, I love your channel.
That's weird.
That was awesome.
Are you Mecca Random? Oh, can I take your picture? Can I take my picture with you?
It was kind of awesome, but it was I felt weird because I'm at a Star Trek convention, and you have Shazad Latif, who's on the show with nobody in his line. That might be partly because he was in that Klingon makeup for half of the series, but it's why are people just, I don't know. But I'm honored.
Crazy.
I'm honored.
That's crazy. If anybody only had seen Michael Dorn in his Klingon makeup and then went to a convention and saw him without the makeup, you'd still know who it was. You could figure it out. Oh, not in those Klingon costumes. You can't emote at all out of those things.
No.
Oh God!
You see their eyes.
Oh God! Ooda. I'm like, it's so pathetic. It really is.
It is. I'm so upset. I don't want anything out of Star Trek until they get rid of that. Because I would love to see some more Klingon stories, but not if they're going to be made up like that.
What do you think? Let me ask, since you're the expert, Steven, I mean, what do you think? Do you think anything is going to come of this with, how do you think it's going to be? How do you think Star Trek's going to be impact when CBS and Viacom remerge? Do you think anything's going to happen, or they're just going to stay the course?
I think if the fans keep being vocal and keep the pressure on with Discovery, I mean, we got season 3 coming up, and they have to keep pushing this shit because it's the CBS All Access, one of their main shows. I think if the fans stay vocal, and then yeah, I do think that there will be some retconning, because Star Trek has always been about people continuing on from the previous show or the previous movie or the previous set. These people worked with each other, the directors, the set designers, the the costume designers, the actors, coming back and doing different roles as different aliens. It's always been a culture that even after Gene Roddenberry passed was maintained. That feeling was still maintained throughout the subsequent series all the way up to 2005. And so I'm hoping that when that merger happens, some of those people come back on deck and bring some of that back to Star Trek in CBS, and hopefully kind of rights the ship a little bit. That's my best case hope. That's my best case scenario.
Do you think Sherry Redstone's going to come in and say, what'd you do to my show?
God, I hope so.
All I know is that Clint Howard is an amazing human being.
Clint Howard is a national treasure. And we mean
fucking
that.
National treasure.
We mean that. But
that was worth the entire trip alone. Getting to hang out with Clint Howard for hours.
Yeah, man, I believe it. That would have been so cool.
But the other thing about where Star Trek is, it's weird because now you're doing something that it's not that it's just hated, but it can be easily erased.
Right. It could be an aberration. They could treat it like an aberration. Just okay. We tried this. It didn't work. We're going back to the original formula. Just concentrate on story. Connecting with the audience. Creating powerful stories while not disrespecting your audience, and not relying so much on CGI. Star Trek was about the story, the characters, the development, when it had messaging, which it did often, it wasn't ham-fisted. Go back to the original formula. Make up with the audience. There's still time. But Discovery has to be treated like it was an aberration, like that's an alternate universe. That one Q snap away, guys. You get John Delancey to come in and one Q snap. Go on.
Yeah, they just don't care enough about it. They want to push their shit. They don't care about the older fans because the older fans are toxic old white dudes.
Here's how you fix it. You have Patrick Stewart as an older Picard wake up in his bed. He wakes up and Q is sitting there. And he says,
Q, what are you doing in my room?
You see, Jean-Luc, the future could be a more terrifying place than you could possibly imagine, as well the past.
What's terrifying is I'm naked and you're in my room.
Oh, Jean-Luc, don't think I haven't seen that before. I am, after all, omnipotent.
Do we have any hope for the Picard series, guys?
Well, I don't have that problem. I can still get it up.
No hope for the Picard series.
There are some things that even Viagra can't fix, Jean-Luc.
Yes, I have little hope for the Picard series. I really do. And I feel that is, if they're Midnight's Edge, why are you fondling my balls? But okay, well, everything obviously is riding on Picard. Even if they've already got season 3 of STD in the can, but at the same time, it's going to be more of the same. It's all
it belongs in the can, all right.
Yeah, but it's going to be the same shit, you're the key to everything, Michael Burnham. You're the key to everything. What are we going to do without? We'd never be able to do this without you. But everything is riding on Picard. This is the last chance they have to try to bring the older fans back in.
I don't think they care about us. I don't think they want us. They want our money, but they don't care about our feelings or what we want out of a series at this point.
Well, I think Mecca's right. I mean, they're right. You're right, Rob, that they're doing this whole Picard thing to bring us back. But Mecca's right. They don't give a fuck about how we feel.
Because they're
we're
not
a bunch
fans.
of toxic, racist sexists, according to them.
They're not making this stuff. That's the big problem. Like I said, there was a culture, there was an ingrained culture in Star Trek that had existed for a long time, and all of these people cared about the production quality. They cared about the story. They cared about these things because they'd been working on it for so long. So a lot of them, these were their babies, and they watched these things grow into full-on series. And you don't have that at CBS. You have people that are just have an ideological agenda, and they all just pay attention to Twitter, and that's it. and they think CGI and flashes and J.J. Abrams effects is going to get them through it, and that's not what it is. It's not what Star Trek is. It's highbrow entertainment.
And we've proved that. Everything you just said, we've proved. The moment that they drove Walter Mosley out, they proved to be exactly what we've been accusing them of all this time.
Mm-hmm. But with Picard, they're setting up a bait and switch. They really are. This is going to be a one gigantic bait and switch where they're just giving you enough member berries to lure in the old fans, but they're going to say, ha, and then they're going to flip it, and they're going to flip the switch, and it's going to be more of the same shit we've seen. Because they featured all the older characters, all the TNG characters in the marketing and in the trailers, but you still got the girl that's the key to everything, and you still got this ragtag crew of outlaws.
Yeah, all these Romulans and whoever the crap they are, and they're diversity cornucopia. The Romulans look like elves. They have no idea what the crap they're doing. They're probably going to be tackling, the Romulans are trying to border hop now or something. Ugh.
25% different Romulans.
Well, we did have Picard saying, they're going to deal with real world stuff, and he tied it into like Brexit and all those sort of things.
I don't mind world issues, but at the same time, if you're just preaching,
they're not smart enough to do it, though. That's the thing. They're not smart enough to do it in the Star Trek Discovery writers' room, and anybody who is won't work for them.
Exactly. Because we've dealt with real world issues in these series before, plenty of times since the inception of the series, but they were done with elegance. They didn't ham fist you with it. They let you figure it out, and they gave you a good story while they were doing it.
Yeah, Nick Mignogna can tackle things like the racial issue and border issue on Star Trek Continues.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't these Star Trek writers do this crap? Like, how are they failing so much at being writers on television? It's like, what, they just showed up? Those are the only people they could get that wouldn't, that wouldn't upset the boat. They won't rock the boat. They won't be, hey, actually, I'm not offended by everything, and I'm not a horrible person,
Mm-hmm. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I'm more pissed about Star Trek than Star Wars, I'll be honest. Star Trek was something that I've had since I was a kid. That was introduced to me by my father. That we used to enjoy together. I remember when he used to get his TOS VHS collector's tapes in the mail, and when they came in, we'd watch them together. And then we watched the original movies together. And then eventually we went out to see the movies when they came out. We watched the first TNG together. It's a part of my childhood. As much as Star Wars is a part of my childhood, but it was something more. My dad wasn't a Star Wars fan, so it's very close. I feel very close to Star Trek. And it's driving me insane to see something that I love being treated like this by people who have no fucking clue what they're doing. And not only that, but they have malice as they create it and toward the fandom. Like, this is not Star Trek.
You get the Time Life videotapes that we see advertised. Don't get your order now and get your first edition, the Menagerie. Those ones.
Yeah.
Ooh, with the unaired pilot, The Cage.
Oh man, yeah.
That's the only one they've ever seen. That's why they're so focused on The Cage. Let's make The Cage canon. What? Who cares about the effing Cage?
Look, when I remember seeing the first episode. Or maybe it was, I'm not sure it was the first episode, when Picard called Riker number 1, and I called that back to The Cage, or to the original pilots. Like, that's how much I was invested in those shows when they came out. That's how much of a connection it was with me and my childhood and my dad. So
yeah, and Mecca and Rob are making the point though that it's true here. These people, they're so concentrated on the Menagerie or The Cage, whichever version they want to, and they are so obsessed with it that they forget of all the other 60-some episodes that are out there, plus the other series and other shit that's gone on since then. They don't stop to think that this was not exactly the way that, they want it. It was still a work in progress. And the only reason it got used later on as a bottle episode is because they didn't have the money to do anything else.
Right. It was the fans that kept Star Trek alive. It was them writing in every year and them begging for the show to stay alive. Like, It's always been about the fans. It's always been about a hardcore fandom that has kept this thing going, and now it's about not the fandom, but it's about the people making it and how they feel and their feels and their ideology. And then if you don't like it, fuck the fans, like attacking the fans, labeling them. And it's a bastardization of everything that the Star Trek fandom, that Star Trek is. It's disgusting to watch. And I really hope that when the merger happens again, that some of those old creators come back and it changes the ship. It changes the direction of the ship.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, speaking of disgusting to watch, I think people have probably had about enough of us. Before we do go though, Steven, you got to tell us about your book right after the super chat. Tim Riggs, $4.99. They don't want to earn a platform. They are incapable, in fact. Therefore, they have to steal something they had no part in, and it shows back. Well, that's everything nowadays. That's every franchise now.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Sam. You hit it right on the head.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Pardon me while I whore my book. I am the author of the Phantom Menace Volume 1, along with Mike Rogers. Nick Nugent did the cover work, and we've got Simone from Comicsgate making up some bookmarkers for us, and the project's kind of just moving along, and we have 6 days left on the Indiegogo for the first edition. Volume 1 is the preface for all of the volumes, so we're going to start you off with a declaration of who the Phantom Menace is and what we stand for by Anthony Ergo, also known as Ruin the Man Baby. Follow him on Twitter. He's an author. He has his own series of books out called the Dystopian series on Amazon. After we go through the foreword by Anthony, I go into Gamergate, explaining the rise of the SJW. Throughout the book, I explain how this ideology, this social justice warrior, this woke culture came about, how it has been infecting entertainment through various mediums, leading up to Comicsgate, Ghostbusters 2016, and then I lead you into The Last Jedi. I give you a good look at the people that were assembled to destroy Star Wars under Kathleen Kennedy. And that goes from the time that she betrayed George Lucas and lied straight to his face while sitting with him in that interview, to the story group that she assembled under Kiri Hart, and give you proof through their own quotes, through their own words, that they had an ideological agenda when they began creating this series of movies. They did not care about the lore, the legacy, the actors, or the fandom. They cared only about presenting and pushing a message, an extremist socio-political message, that has literally just divided the fan base and destroyed the franchise. This book will lead you all the way up to just before the formation of the High Council. Volume 2 is being put together. We have a lot of great creators that are going to be helping with Volume 2, such as Midnight's Edge. We highlight Mecha Random, Doomcock, Stephanie Janicek, Smuggler's Cantina, and a few others. So Volume 2 is going to be about the creation of the Fandom Menace. Volume 1 is the preface to everything that has happened. It's very in-depth. I've taken a lot of information and tried to squeeze it in a way that doesn't read like a VCR manual, any of you who understand that reference, or a technical manual, but something that's going to be fun to read. You will go through various emotions while reading this book, because you will remember some things that have been said and that have happened in the past leading up to this. And you'll also gain new knowledge and insight on different events, because I highlight different people that have been involved in creating this toxic culture that has infected entertainment. Volume 1 is $25 for an unsigned copy, $30 for a signed copy. I ran an Indiegogo a while back for expenses. One of those expenses was shipping, so I am not charging shipping for Volume 1. You can find it on Indiegogo. There's 6 days left to run it. I'm happy to say that we've already met our goal. There are still books available. And if you have any questions, you can look me up at Lodonis on Twitter. I also have author Stephen Walton is my YouTube channel. So if you have any questions, reach out to me, and I will answer whatever I can. And I'd like to thank everybody involved with this book, everybody that's been pushing and promoting it. Hail to the Phantom Menace, and the people in Comicsgate that I've been speaking with recently that have been helping to promote the book. And I want to say, a lot of people in the Phantom Menace and don't really get into Comicsgate because it's kind of a different thing. They are doing their own thing, and it's vice versa. But the more I talk with people in Comicsgate, the more I find that we are basically fighting the same fight against this social justice ideology, this extremist viewpoint. And so more conversation should be had between our two groups. We really are more alike than you would suspect. Thank you very much, Tom and Rob.
No problem. And I'm going to share that link in the chat. And this week I should get paid, so I will be getting my signing up for mine anyway.
Awesome.
So
Thank
yeah,
you very much.
Do check that out. I think you said you reached your goal, correct? But every little bit helps, of course, I'm sure. And you still have a few copies left of a few of the signed ones, right?
Yep, absolutely. There's still copies left. Thanks to some very generous people in the community who have bought the books and given a little bit more, which I didn't ask for. We've definitely reached our goal, so everything is paid for, and we're just ready to set up the print run and start shipping the books out as soon as the Indiegogo goes down.
All right.
Super cool. Mecca?
What?
Lead
it up for it. No, watch my videos. I got one coming up soon. It's just a little rant. So
you're closing in on 50,000 subscribers too.
Yeah, we gotta do something for 50K. Also, we're gonna have a couple, maybe possibly haunted streams this weekend. Not this weekend. Well, Wednesday, Thursday night, maybe. We'll see.
Yes.
At least some special content, some special footage. So
As long as they have free Wi-Fi.
they do.
Okay, good.
Hopefully there's signal though, because we might be snowed in. Might be snowed in at the Stanley Hotel.
All work.
If anybody knows anything about The Shining.
Oh boy.
Here, Johnny. David Letterman. Hi, David. My name's Grandpa. I'm Dad Leather. All this more and any Rooney tonight on 60 Minutes.
Oh shit. All right, folks. Well, we'll see how it goes Wednesday. Otherwise, I guess I'll be flying solo with Annie Trekker if you guys don't make it, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Make sure you come through with the ransom this time.
No.
All right. Okay, everybody.
You have this illusion that we have any kind of money sitting around to pay to get you back, Rob, but
I mean, just not even like enough for a burger and onion rings, or I mean, Santiago's is cheap. I can get a $3 burrito there.
$5. It's $5 if you want it with smothered.
Lower.
I'm being ransomed by Kmart.
Think dollar menu.
All right,
the chickens are Papa Bowie.
All right, folks. We'll catch you next time on Midnight's Edge After Dark.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
What am I gonna do?
I bet they regret that.
Hello.